brought a change to the women, but I always remember the first question was the first day, which I had the privilege of attending, was that, are we running a business or is it a hobby?
Yeah.
And that question was, and I love women, and I love the emotion that came out of all that. What? Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Inchi Monday. We started last week to engage in a conversation with Steve G of Endeavor Connections and Pastor Maureen, who runs Woman to Woman Ministries, and we're discussing all things governance. Karibu.
Thank you.
So first of all, it's a good thing. So I'm just thinking, as we're coming to the end of last Monday's video, I just thought of the Africa Union 2063 and their goals. One of they had 7 points. It's a 7-point strategic plan, but one of the points was about women and youth and children, and I was very upset because I was like, and so why have you left out the men? And I was thinking that's something that really happens, that we leave out the men. But then when we started doing Ezesha, I was so shocked. Back to women. I was like, for sure, the bigger vision actually almost drives all the other visions. So that's the vision they have for the continent, and it's driving our vision, because I just felt an instruction. We'd had a very long conversation with Steve G the first day I met him. I'm sure he remembers more about the conversation than I do. He will tell us. But it was about starting something that will empower women. And therefore we got together and came up with a brand name. I think you came up with a name, I can't remember, Ezesha anyway. We were all together, all three of us. Yeah. And so I brought a group of women together, you brought a group of business women, small and medium enterprises, the people who really run this nation. And then Steve came up with a program, which we also spoke to, and I think we did core values together and all that, and then the program started. And we meet these women twice a month, and we've been doing it for 6 months. And so after 12 sessions, they are released to go and hopefully do business better. But you've had a lot of success stories. You had success stories with people in the mashinani kabisa, and maybe you can also talk about your Ezesha success stories, what you think has worked and brought a change to the women. But I always remember the first question was the first day, which I had the privilege of attending, was that, are we running a business or is it a hobby?
Yeah.
And that question was, and I love women, and I love the emotion that came out of all that. What do you mean, am I running a business or is it a hobby? But after investigation, many of them were hobbies.
Yeah.
Which was good. So maybe you can speak to us. Maybe Pastor Maureen will let you speak first. What has been your experience with the Ezesha program?
For me, first, as an individual, even before I approach it from a leader's perspective, was, as you're saying, realizing, oh my God, I'm running a hobby.
Not a business.
Not a business. And it's because of just some simple fundamental truths that we neglect. And also the aspect of trying to become so and so, not realizing it's a process. And so you want to jumpstart the process, you want to jump over, you want to do everything you want to do just to become where this other person or your role model has become, not realizing you have to go through
and
your
you have to
process.
go through your process. It's very important.
And so for me, when I just realized I have a process, and now it took me back to realizing what is my process, and I need to go back to starting at A so that I can go through my process. As a leader, for me, even as I brought these women, my excitement was in the first place when was bringing women who have failed and they want to give up. Yes. But they have an idea, they have a vision, they have something within them, but they just lack some mentorship, they lack some coaching, they lack some guidance, and having somebody who is real with them, because we have got so many theories, we have got so many things out there, but this is experiential, as Steve G always says, it's about the experience and to see where they are now.
I'll never forget one of them. I don't know that I can say this, but one of them, first of all, the way she laughed at herself.
Yes.
That was such a powerful moment for me, because she realized herself, surely what is this? You're running the business, you're taking from the same business, you don't have stock for that business. Just the things that went through. It was such a joy to see her come to that point where she actually took a long look at herself and said, for sure, even me, this is a joke, But then now getting into that seriousness, because I think that would have been a tragedy, that if they had continued in that direction. Now I think they are very serious business people. There's a story you always give about, are you the manager, the owner, or the technician? Yeah. And when you break it down for them, I also see them come alive at that, because I love it. They are so happy. They now say, now which one do I need to be? Do I need to be the business owner? Do I need to be the manager or the technician? Because most of the SMEs, you're running everything. Yes. But it's also important to separate yourself into who are you being now, and then have conversation between, you're the same person, but between all these three people, there has to be a conversation. So I've always thought that was also powerful. And the fact that you cope with women, Steve, do you know, I look at Steve and I'm like, all these women, and you're okay. Did I ever ask you how come you could cope with women like that so well?
Probably it's a calling.
I think it's a calling.
Then beyond that, it's the values that I was brought up with.
Yeah.
Something I always put out is that my dad died when I was very young.
Yeah.
And then I saw my mom struggle to try and just make ends meet, and for us not to
go down.
Not to go down. So then over the years, the way God has allowed things to happen is I end up having more sessions training women. And I had to come and accept it. If this is the audience, this is the customer, and this is the one who's getting value, then how do I continue creating content that speaks to their need and that is able to transform primarily their thinking? Because I realized that if you're able to change how you think about yourself, how you think about business, then now it unlocks other things that then add value to the family.
It's powerful. I mean, I would love you to engage in some of your stories, but even for me, one of the other bigger ones was when this lady, not in this particular group, but in a session that you'd had saved up money. I think it was 6,000 shillings.
Yes.
And she told you she's never seen so much. So she called you because she was like, so now,
what do we do?
What do we do with this? And to her, I mean, that story moved me in such a way that 6,000 shillings was a lot for her. Yet to some of us, we spend that in, not the greater population out there, spend that in 2 minutes without thinking. But to think it was her whole life. But I was encouraged that she'd learnt the principles and done them to the point where she had saved the money. Now next was so now we have saved the money. What do we do? Yeah.
And that's what we've tried to do. Picking up from lessons, like I said, from leverage. What I did is over the last about 3 years, I've been able to engage with different organizations that have given me a platform to train at a grassroots level. And so the lessons from that is what now, based on the conversations we had, gave birth to Ezesha, which is this program that we've been running. And like you said, I want to... In Kenya, we talk about entrepreneurship. And I think to a large extent, that conversation, we're having it in the wrong way.
Okay.
Because we call everybody running a business an entrepreneur. And then we want to train them at that level.
Okay.
But from my journey over the last 4 or 5 years, I've come to then be able to separate. We have many of us are actually self-employed.
Okay.
Which means that you've left work and you started your own thing.
So you've employed yourself.
You've employed yourself. There are a few of us who are business owners. And a business owner is somebody who has built systems and structures that are then helping manage the business. And the business can run when they're not there. And the business can start running without them. And then now on top is now the very few who are called entrepreneurs. And then an entrepreneur has built an enterprise, which is now the business, and can be able to step out and it will run. So what we did and what we've been able to do with Ezesha is bring the conversation that's relevant for the audience that we are having. And like you said, most of us are very passionate about what we do in terms of in our businesses. A majority of us are actually very good. So you're giving your best value, best quality to your customers and to your clients. But then when you talk to them, very few of us are actually making money out of it.
That's true.
And from my own experience and the lessons over the last few years, what we realized is that, and it took my coach, the same conversations I was having in Rwanda, for him to come and break it down for me. That if you're very good at something, and you're very passionate about it, but it's not giving you any money, it's not a business.
Wow.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
It took me 2 years to accept that what I had initially was a hobby.
It's a hobby.
And what he did is help me see that I need to think of the structure that runs the business. I should not be the one who's running the business. Wow. So, like I said, I was able to shut down and start afresh. And for most of these women attending the course over the last few months, that's the journey we've taken them. Because once you see it's a hobby, then now we can start asking the right questions.
Of how maybe to turn it into a business?
How to turn it into a business, and then how to structure it such that you stop stealing. Most of us, we think we are earning, but since they are not structures, we are stealing from the business, which then strains the business and it's not able to grow.
That's powerful.
So having the relevant questions are there for the participants.
And you see, that's what coaching is.
Yes.
Coaching, the coach is able to ask you questions that then guide you. And what I love about coaching, as I bring this to a close, is that I find that the participant almost hears their own voice.
Yes.
It's like an opportunity to hear what has been in you. It's been in here, but you haven't been able to voice it.
Yes.
Then you bring it out. And then when you do something like an Ezesha, now you bring out everything. It's like you lay out your life on the table. I mean, I'll never forget I think even the way you've done it, even with the cards, the size that they are, the canvases that they now put their life on, is actually a way of bringing my life and laying it all out so that I can actually see it. And what are the different parameters of this business and making this business work, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So, when ain't Monday, you better own your space. Don't let anybody tell you this country belongs to them. This country belongs to you. It's us, all of us. It's ours, and we have to take a piece of this of that country and do what we can do with it. So I hope you're looking forward to more conversations about how you actually run a business and own an enterprise.
Yeah.
God bless you. Bye.